Okay, fantastic Friday morning. Welcome, welcome. All of those of you who've got here more or less on time, you've obviously got at least one strength, and that's being punctual. So well done for that. And looking forward to a fantastic discussion this morning. So Lee, do you want to take it away?
Good morning, everyone. So I am going to just dive in the deep end. We ended yesterday by saying, if we think in terms of abundance and we look around us and we see what we have access to, what we've been given, then one of the ways that we can also think about abundance is looking inward and to see what are the resources that we have within us. What are our unique strengths that come through our personality, our experience, and that resource us to be the people that we are and to do the things that we do, but that obviously also have an impact in our environment, in our communities, that we use our innate strengths or the strengths that we've gained through hard work and experience to share with others. And so that it increases the abundance, right? Because what we've received, we're now giving. It's the sowing and reaping that Solomon spoke about. And rather than just discuss the concept of having these strengths, I thought to make it personal and to say, well, what are your strengths? Many of us have been on this platform for a long time. We've shared some really deep and amazing stories. So how can we then share our personal strengths? And so the two that there are three, but there are two that specifically I want to focus on. The one is one that I'm learning to appreciate more, even from yesterday. So one of my strengths is the ability to listen. So listening carefully, listening to understand, paying attention through listening is something that comes naturally to me. I've also been on courses. So even strengths are things that you need to keep growing. So it's certainly something that I have honed and continue to do so. Why I've been appreciating it recently is because I've been leading a collaboration group talking about how can we impact entrepreneurs in the informal sector. And it's a very diverse group of people. And by diverse, it's not just racially or gender or age, it's all of those things. But the two people who are the most diverse are the two white men. So trying to hold this all together. And I am not a leader that I'm not like Trevor. Trevor has a picture. Trevor has a vision. He sees something, and then it's you pull and you drive and you 2020 fish. It's all about seeing. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I do not have a picture of this amazing future that I'm going to take this group towards. What I'm doing is I'm listening to this person, and then I summarize it. And what I did yesterday, in fact, I stayed up until midnight. I took 5 meetings worth of summaries, and I pulled out to say, okay, what did this person say? Where are the themes? How does this define our purpose, who we are, what we're doing, and I realized that's my way of leading, and that's good enough. So that was a strength that I'm acknowledging at the moment. The other strength is that I am not like Cecile. I am not like Mazipo. I am not like Mpho, who went wild and did all these amazing things, did parties and Cecile talks about not having inhibitions. I'm like inhibition personified. And that was, I was head girl. I was head girl at my primary school. I was head girl at my high school. I was the goody two shoes. I made sure everybody followed the rules. I still follow the rules. If somebody says this is the way you're supposed to do it, I do it that way. I'm a good kid. And you know, sometimes it's been frustrating for me and maybe for everybody else. But what it's led to is that I run an ethical leadership program. And I feel I'm qualified to do this because I know what I need to do, and I do it. So those are the two strengths that I want to focus on about myself. And I really would like to hear from you. How would you see your strengths, and how are they working for you?
Great, thanks, Leah. I think my strength was picking my two partners, one who breaks all the rules and the other one who keeps all of them. So, you know, it keeps me on the straight and narrow between the two of them. Anyway, all right, let's, who should we pick on first this morning? Jasper, let's pick on you.
Yeah, I must say I did not like your topic choice for today because it's starting to become too personal. So, you know, when one can talk about things far away, then we all have an opinion. But I think my relationship to the topic is to almost say, but especially when you ask me about weaknesses, I can keep you busy for a series. But when you talk about strengths, then it's almost to say, you know, I'm not supposed to say this about myself. Let other people say this. But I was fortunate when we started our gig management team around about 2011. That was after 3 years of being busy with this whole thing. Jason Riley, our CEO, was at that stage very interested in this whole strengths finders. And he used that as a basis to also confirm that we are complementing each other. And if we are going to clash, let's know already at what level we will start clashing with each other. So I'm not, I've gone through the exercise, and so they then identify your 5 top skills. So we all have lots more, and never a person is never just one thing. And I think over time, like I was not a good listener when I was, let's say, approaching my 40s, but as a result of the things I was involved with at that stage, I think today I can also say I'm a good listener. But in terms of the strengths finder, it then identify me as the top strengths, strategic. In other words, an ability to almost understand where are we in whatever situation, and then how to move out of it to a next situation that we can envision. Futuristic, and that would be almost focused on the future instead of being stuck in the past, and constantly trying to say where is the future going and how can we position for that. Self-assurance, which I think basically just probably say, yeah, I have an inner belief that you know, things will be all right. Maximizer, and I think that link up with what we talk about, unlocking resources. So when I come into situations, whether the resources are people or things, I'm looking for work for those resources and for the people. And then belief. So I have a strong belief that things are not by chance, that there's a bigger, there's a creator who created us for a purpose, for a time such as this, equipped each and every one of us with the necessary skills and resources to go through our life's journey. And then it becomes a lifelong journey to discover those resources and the application of those resources. So that's me summarized.
Great, thanks, Jasper. Mpulela, let's come across to you.
Oh man, just as I was happy that I'll come at some stage when all my thoughts are put together. But anyway, good morning to everyone. Yeah, it is interesting to speak of one's strengths. I think for some strange reason, we find it easier to say what the weaknesses are. But I think I'm one person who doesn't give up easily. I think that's a strength. In actual fact, one of my friends usually says, I don't know how to give up. And then the other strength is I'm able to understand concepts easily. So if as an example, if you gave me a scientific astrological book, even if I don't have a background in that, but if I read that, my mind will start putting the dots together as to what these things mean and how they fit together. So I tend to understand concept very easily. I'm very good at people as well. I actually enjoy people. Very good at observing. Very good at making everyone easy and happy around me, if I may put it like that. And then I enjoy teaching as well. My children suffer this because we're homeschooling now. I literally wake them up at 6 o'clock and teach them until 11 and in between do wisdom chats. And my son will be like, but Daddy, I understand. I'm like, no, you need me to explain to you one more time. I would break it down to them in that way. I do enjoy teaching because I understand concept. I do enjoy relaying that information to other people, and I enjoy seeing them understanding it as well. And therefore, I'd also explain it from different directions. But one of the other strengths I have as well, I love problem solving. I'm just one person that when there's a problem, my mind is always about what's the solution, and I'll think about it from different directions and different potential solutions. Yeah, I think those are the ones I can mention for now. But like I said, not giving up. I don't give up that easily. Patient. I'm quite patient with people in general. Even with my kids, I know most people find it difficult to be, but I'm patient with my children as well. And I'd say my strength in God as well. I'd say that's a strength. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Great, thanks, Mpolelo. Cecile, let's get across to you.
Hi guys. I like Mpolelo. One of my good strengths is also I don't give up easily. I will sit and do something until I can get it right. I can concentrate for long periods of time. When I'm busy at my office and I don't know if it's a good thing or not, I can sit down there at 8 o'clock and by 6 o'clock that night, I'm still sitting there concentrating on doing something my husband can't understand that I can't do because he has ants in his pants after half an hour. Then another strength that I have is I'm quite good at taking difficult concepts and putting them into and making them easy. Like, you know, in my chit chat work things, a lot of people find how the PABX works and the internet and all that kind of stuff, and I can explain it in quite simple terms to someone to understand, like difficult terms to understand it quite easily in layman's terms. So I'm quite persuasive. So my husband always gets cross when we're driving somewhere, and I would say, no, take this route. And then he would follow it and we would be wrong. And then he'd say, why do I listen to you? And I think, why do you listen to me? So that's the one other thing. I'm disciplined. I'm very disciplined. So if I decide I'm going to do something like sport, I would do my 100 sit-ups and my 23 push-ups every single night, no matter what time of the day or what time of the night it is. Even if it's sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, although I never go to bed that late, I go to bed at 12 o'clock. I will do them. Sometimes I'll get into bed and I think, I haven't done my stuff, and I'll get out of bed and I'll go and do them in the bottom of the bed. Lee, I just want to change one little perception there. Unlike Mpo and Nozipho, I am also a good girl. I do wild things, but I am a goody two shoes. Sometimes I think I'm a real wet pant because I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I've never done any of those things because I'm quite meticulous about specific rules, like rules of the road and stuff like that. So I'm a big law-abiding citizen, but I'm kind of wild at heart, of doing adventurous type of person more than a wild person. I say most people live up and down type of lives, highs and lows and highs and lows. I try and keep my high they're the same all the time. So I try not to dip into the lows. When I want to dip into the lows, I think no. I might get stuck there. So let's just stay there on the high. Yeah. So but I think my best strength is my determination. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Aseel. And I think goody two shoes is a matter of interpretation, isn't it? So we all interpret these things in different ways. Great, let's get across to Steve.
Thanks, Evan. I think probably one of the strengths that I'm leaning most into at the moment is just around the idea of listening, and listening well to people, listening deeply, and then being able to reflect back to them what they're saying in a way that is hopefully helpful for them, to think about their experiences, to think about their ideas, their needs, their wants, their lives in a constructive way. And so that's a strength that I'm spending quite a bit of time on at the moment and developing further. And it's something that I think I've always known has been integral to who I am. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Steve. Short and sweet. Donovan, let's get across to you.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, in terms of my strengths, which I perceive as strengths, one of them is I'm very analytical. I think it's maybe because of my career as a quantity surveyor. I don't just look at a building. I can analyze it up to the last brick or bolt. Sometimes it's not a good thing because, you know, it's easy to spot mistakes and tend to concentrate more on the mistakes, more on the negative than the positive. Then also in terms of the strengths, I was able to find errors in some of the contract documents that we were using.
Donovan, you're very faint again this morning. I'm struggling a little bit to hear you.
Yeah. So in terms of the strengths, as I was saying, I'm very analytical. I was able to find errors in the contract documents that we were using many years ago for over 20 years in one of the offices. But as I was saying, it can also lead me to tend to be more on a pessimistic side, you know, on a negative, looking at problems more than solutions. And then also another strength I would say is to be a lateral thinker. Sometimes I have the ability to look at a problem from a totally different angle, and that often helps me to come up with solutions. Thank you.
And thanks, Donovan. Stella, let's get across to you.
Thanks, Ivan. Morning, everyone. Okay, so the first strength that I think I've got is attention to detail. So I'll give you an example. So I am a trustee of our body corporate for the complex, and we got some quotes in to install water meters for the complex, and so we 3 people on the trustees, and the managing agent got us the quotes last week. And so there's 116 units, so it's a couple of 100,000 rands that we need to outlay now for the water meters. We got the 3 quotes, it was sent in, so the chairman says, oh, okay, we're going with this guy because he's the cheapest, and it's the same product that they're installing. And then I said, hang on, you're not comparing apples with apples, because 2 of the quotes were with that and the other one without that. So I'm very good at attention to detail, and that saved us like 50 grand. So yeah, so I think that's a good strength that I've got. And then I can take control of a situation. Sometimes I think it can be to my detriment. Like in my marriage, you know, I was seen as always taking control, that if no one else takes control, then I feel like I have to step in there. But like last week again with the trustees, we had to get a special vote because we had a special levy for roofs that we had to repair, the 3.6 million rand project. And then I realized that the way that we did the allocation of the special levy was not fair in using the PQ of the complex. So I did a new calculation and it's a long story, but anyway, we had to get a special vote, 75% of the votes of the owners to change the special resolution. And it's been going on for more than a month now. And because of lockdown, we couldn't have a meeting. So we were sending out mails and to get the votes. And we were short with like 35 votes. And the other trustees and the managing agent says, no, what are we going to do now? Maybe we must just have a special meeting. But we don't know how we're going to do it because you can only have 50 people together. And then I said, okay, guys, give me 5 days. I'll get us the 35 votes. And the guys said, no, you're never going to do it. And that was last week, Monday. So I started on the votes. And by Thursday, I needed 3 more. And Thursday night, I went to bed early. And the other trustee, I sent her WhatsApp. I said, no, I'm very tired. I'm going to bed early. She says, but we've only got 3 votes. We still need 3 votes. I said, don't worry, we'll get it tomorrow morning. And we did. So it was just, I think if I set my mind to it, but also the belief. I think one of my other strengths is my belief in, yes, it will happen, you know, and yeah, so taking control of the situation and making it work and then believe in what I'm doing. And then also another thing, I think I've got a lot of patience in teaching. I remember when I was still working, and that was my first, when I was at school, I first wanted to be a teacher and things didn't work out like that. But I enjoy teaching people and I've got a lot of patience doing that. So yeah, that's me. Thanks.
Right, thanks, Stella. Solomon, let's get across to you.
Morning. I was struggling to unmute my mic. Morning, everybody. I think the first thing that I think it's a strength to me, it's working very hard. At a young age, about 13, 14, I already was having quite a bit of money because, yeah, my dad was not always around. So I almost like was the man of the house, selling perfumes, silky stockings, you know, selling different kinds of things and just working hard and making sure that we actually have food to eat. So I find that in everything that I pick up and take and all that, I'm able to focus and really work hard on it. The other thing that's a strength for me, it's the whole thing of exhortation. So I find when I meet with you and you are actually messed up in the mud or you are busy just trying to drain yourself in different kinds of situations, after I've asked you a couple of questions and all that, I'm able to pick you up and say, hey, come on, you know, let's do this. So I find that most of the time I've got a word in season that a person needs for that particular time. Don't ask me how, but anyway, somebody just tells me that, oh yeah, you know, that's what I needed. But the last one that I wanted to highlight, which I really think it goes along with me being able to encourage other people, it's the whole thing of compassion. I find I get upset with everybody that does not help others that are around them. You've got blocks of flats that are next to each other, and let's say I stay on the fourth one, and then you find that the other three ones were unable to help that particular person. So I sometimes get upset. Why couldn't you just go there and knock and find out what's happening? So I find that I've got quite a deep compassion and able to give myself to situations whereby a lot of people are hurting and are not doing well. Thanks.
Great, thanks, Solomon. Nazipa, let's get across to you.
Hi, morning. I now work from my phone and it is such a headache while I wait for my speaker on my laptop to get fixed. I have found over time that, you know, with strengths in particular, there's certain strengths you have and you know, and then you have strengths that other people will tell you about. And like I always try to balance between the two. Like I've had people tell me I'm a very calm person, and I think really I don't know myself like that. But anyway, the ones that I know myself is my ability to adapt to any situation. I think that's a strength because I'm able to, whatever situation I find myself in, I'm able to adapt accordingly. The same with people as well. I think my other strength is that I'm a hard worker. I'm one of those people, like I think Cecile and Lee said earlier, that would stay up and make sure that something is done. Like I can't tell you how many times I've left my desk at like 4 a.m. to get to bed because something had to be done before I close my eyes. But over years, as I grow older, I no longer want that. I want to work more smarter, and that's what I'm busy trying to do now, especially where work is concerned. My other strength is also in the area of acquiring information and sharing information. I love getting information and then sharing information with the people that need that information. I even have a whole page on Facebook where I just share information. I don't know why I do it, but that's who I am. And then lastly, it will probably be the ability to come up with ideas, like to say, this is what should be done, this would be a great idea. And then I would then get discouraged when I realize the resources that I needed to then see those ideas through. But in terms of coming up with ideas, I am your person. And that's that. Thanks.
Right, thanks, Nazipo. Trevor, over to you.
Oops, I've been making notes as ideas come to me. So I suppose my strength is that I know that I'm a walking contradiction and have been for 65 odd years. And from that perspective, I've made a note that I'm just comfortable with myself. So I no longer give a damn when people turn around and have a go at me or turn around and criticize or any of that. It's just par for the course. So this thing of being a contradiction allows me to actually bounce off and debate with myself. And by the way, I'm an absolute introvert, which is quite interesting for me, that most other people rate my strengths as, I see them as weaknesses. And so people turn around and say, oh, gee, you're an out-and-out extrovert and all that. No rubbish, man. I'm a nomad. I can disappear into the desert and live in a tent or disappear in the bush. I don't like being around people. I hate actually unveiling myself to groups of people over Zoom platforms like this. But anyway, you know, I'm very much like Cecile. For me, I've rationalized that life is about adventure, and I'm not afraid to actually step off the edge and travel down the river and go and see what happens and that sort of thing. So let me get on to a couple of other things. I think an absolute strength that I have is an ability to relax. And in fact, I relax most when other people panic most. And that for me tends to be why other people think that I'm a leader. That's just because they're not making decisions. And I can take decisions easily because I know there's only one or two paths to a decision. So you may as well just select one and go with it. So I try and rationalize which is the correct one, but no one has a crystal ball. So you try and take an educated guess, and I'm decisive in that basis. I'm going to go through a couple of others that I wrote down. Yeah, commitment, I've got it in bucket loads. I'm a catalyst. Other people will say I'm a stirrer, but I certainly stir and make things happen. If I go back to sporting analogy, I'm not scared to take shots. So you would have heard Oscar. Oscar said he took 1,000 shots. No, I took 10,000 shots. And I scored a lot more goals than he ever did. In fact, we must follow up with Oscar and see how he's doing, just as a reminder. Abstract reasoning. Yeah, now here's something. You know, we have, when you go into corporate life, you get all these fancy tests that Steve Carter puts out and that sort of thing. And my biggest strength that came out of that was abstract reasoning. And Ivan will tell you from his perspective, I'm the most unreasonable guy around. But I also break rules and do all of those sort of things. I very much like Mpumelelo, like to connect dots. So simplicity for me is very important. Whatever else have I put here? Persistence, determination. I'm nomadic, I've said that. And interesting in also those particular tests, it came out that I'm a compassionate martyr. And I couldn't give a damn for any of you guys.
And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, fantastic, folks. Yeah, so just a quick wrap up from my side. I think some of my strengths are the ability to solve problems. I'm definitely, you know, somebody who can look into the detail and work out what needs to be done, what's going on. I think listening is also one of my skills. But I also like to think that interpretation is also one of my strengths. So often find that I'm sitting in the middle of a discussion where two people are actually saying the same things but disagreeing with each other, and I have the ability to actually to see that and interpret it and give it back to people. Yeah, and highly analytical, not easily ruffled, and I think lots of patience. You need it when you work with Trevor for 20 years. You know, it's something that you develop more and more as life goes on. So so one has to work on those things as well. So yeah, I think that's me in a nutshell. So I'll leave back to you to wrap up for the morning.
Well, thank you everyone for risking. As Jasper said, it's not easy necessarily to share your strengths. Trevor was saying, you don't want to, it's amazing how you feel vulnerable just sharing something that is actually good about yourself. But what I take away from it is that this is an incredible group. And I'm sure if we had another 20 or 30 people, we'd also be amazed at it. But it just goes to show you just scratch the surface a little bit of who we are. And there's this acres of diamonds. It's acres of diamonds, is that they're right here in front of us. Is this incredible, we talk about abundance, the uniqueness, the dynamic variety and depth of possibilities that lie because of these incredible strengths that are all expressed differently and richly. I'm just so it's been wonderful just to admire and respect and appreciate everybody that's shared and the strengths that lie in this group. So thank you everyone. I'm going to turn the camera on the cameraman. And Ivan, I'm wondering whether you could share your story with us on Monday. Yeah. Unfortunately, we've asked too many other people that we can't actually back out ourselves. But I would love to hear, if Ivan, if that's okay with you, we'd love to hear your story.
Sure.
Thank you. I've given you a whole weekend.
Look, I started preparing last weekend already, and not even halfway, so I don't know if another weekend's going to do it, but we'll try.
Well, another weekend to stress. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great weekend yourselves, and we look forward to seeing you on Monday to hear Ivan's story.
Great. Enjoy it, everybody. Have a good weekend. See you Monday. Ciao now.